I swear down. No. That's the microphone. Output, yes. Do whatever the fuck. I'm sat here chatting to myself in a different bit of software whilst we're propagating into the world. Okay. Okay, if I listen to myself, I will go mad. No, I want it to work. And when the volume of the Yeti is... Wait, I'm live. Thank God for that. Duck, no. Enabled. There we go. All right. I think we're good. Playlist deck 0, deck 1, and effects. I haven't got any effects on today. Hi, if you're looking at me talking to myself, welcome. Welcome to the madness for at least the next 30 to 45 minutes. I am just doing some usual behind the scenes checking of things. You may have noticed that my microphone is in a little bit of a different place. It's a legit position. I am talking about my microphone. See, good. We're live. Wonderful. So, hello. Welcome to the madhouse. That is my living room. That is the accommodation of everything. Everything in a small space. I like small spaces. They're cozy. I hate big houses. I think that's a childhood thing because we had a huge house when I was a kid, and growing up, when you're in a weird Dutch, Jewish, Kenyan upbringing space, yelling is normal. Yelling is very normal. It's why I have a very healthy set of lungs, because I learned how to yell for things. And so it's funny when you're going, Abba, Ima, right across. We lived in a bungalow, so the entire house was just on one level, which was cool. So on one side we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 bedrooms. 2 were en suite, 3 were en suite. And my brother's bedroom was a living room, and that was all locked off onto one side. And then we had the main entrance area and the main, the first reception space. And then we had a weird second reception space that kind of went into this weird kind of bit that would go out to the patio, but we turned into the TV room. And then we had the freaking ginormous dining room. And then we had the sheltered patio space and the outdoor patio space. And then we had the garden. Huge. Lived in a freaking ginormous place. And and the kitchen, obviously behind the freaking enormous dining room, there was the kitchen. And we had a little cubby hole space where food would get passed through. And the kitchen was ginormous. I love the kitchen. Huge kitchen. Always want a huge kitchen. But the rest of the place, the rest of the house can be tiny, because I hated how huge my house was. I know this isn't what this episode's about, but it's fine because this is the preamble, and I still haven't actually done the thing that I was intending on doing, which was hitting the record button in Spreaker. And now we're recording. Yay. So today's episode is called Weaksauce and Due Diligence. And I'm just reminding myself that I'm reviewing my March Metamorphosis month and deep diving into Budokon, the warrior's mind. So Budokon is a martial arts movement thing that I've been following for years, and finally took a dive this year. So I'm gonna actually start this episode properly, rather than me trying to kind of wax lyrical now before actually kind of setting everything up. So I'm assuming I'm live on YouTube. If I am, great. If I'm not, oh well. I have no time today. I have things I need to do with my hobbly foot. So without further ado, let's start this episode properly, shall we? Hello. Yes, the ducking is actually working today. That's brilliant. How are you guys? I hope everybody is well and happy as they can be. And I've noticed something is a little bit wrong with today's intro. If you can hear it, write it in the comments. If you can't hear it, then I don't need to say anything else. Today's episode is about embracing the weak sauce and persevering with due diligence. Now, that's a very, 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 very fancy word to be using. And I have reasons. I have reasons because I have always been a martial artist of some description from the twee age of 6. Did I start when I was 6? Yeah, 6. I've always been in a martial art of some description. So my parents put me through anything that would waste my energy because I am a hyperactive individual. I'm very physical. I like moving. If I don't move, I feel like I'm dying. So you can only imagine how the last year of lockdown has treated me. They put me into Shotokan karate first. So that was when I was 6 years old. I also got shoved into gymnastics, and I think I mentioned that on the last one, in a very dark kind of way, that I loved gymnastics, was absolutely getting into it. And then the teacher passed away, unfortunately. And such as, there's a dog outside. And such is life in Kenya when, mortality rates are a thing, and, you live, but like the possibility of death is way higher than it would be in spaces like, the UK or Europe, certain aspects of Europe, and the US and stuff. So they put me into gymnastics, they put me into dance. I talked about the ballet dance teacher, my Italian dance teacher with the cane. That was not enjoyable. And they also put me into summer camps. And my summer camp was IT and karate. I don't know who, when, where, how, or even why those things got put together, but that was my thing. If you ever watched American Pie, and if you ever have that catchphrase, this one time at band camp, mine can either go one of two ways. This one time at IT camp, or this one time at Shotokan Karate School. Those are the options I have. Either I was learning to touch type by having a shoebox put over my keyboard. Worked out really well. I can touch really quickly. Wow. I can type really quickly. I've changed my coffee and it's not as strong. So my mouth and my brain aren't quite moving at the same speed as they should be. So, IT skills, learning how to do, how to utilize MS-DOS, how to touch type, how to, use, this was 90, this must have been 93 or something. Maybe 92. No, 94. 10, 9, 8, 7, no, 93 or so. And with that, hello cat. With that, I had IT during the day, and then I would go down stairs to the space underneath this building, and it was just hard floor, and that's where karate class would happen. And by this open space, there was a little hut that a woman went into, and she would cook mandazi, which is a kind of Kenyan like donut, or Kenyan sweet dumpling. Is it dumpling or donut? I think a donut, and donuts. So yeah, so mandazi and donuts, and then sweet tea would be the thing that we'd have at break. And I used to eat so many of those things like a little crackhead, because my parents didn't really allow me to have sweet things at home. So whenever I was at this computer camp or whatever, I would just go in and get my sugar fix. I think that's why I have this whole thing where I just like eat sweet things in a binge, and then I'm good for like a month. I don't know if that's healthy or not. Like my weight's fine, so we're all good. But I digress. So karate was my first thing. Shotokan karate was my first thing, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was really, really fun. My teacher was called Mr. Valentine, and he was such a cool guy. And yeah, I really shone through with karate. I went up through the grades and everything. And then I had to move. You know, it's always a way with these things. Like, yeah, it was great, and then you have to move. And then I moved into Taekwondo. Did I? Yeah, from Shotokan Karate, I moved straight into Taekwondo. And that was a bit weird because within that, I also moved countries. So I was competing in Kenya, not doing too badly, bronze. Like third is better than nothing in my humble opinion, even though my parents were just like, why aren't you gold yet? Like, you know, high pressure shit. So yeah, with that, I did a lot, went through the grades. I think I got up to blue belt in karate or green. It whatever the one just before red, which is before brown, I was that one. So, you know, kind of half proficient, and moved to UK. So if you don't know, just giving you a little like very light martial arts history lesson here. Taekwondo has had, maybe it's changed, this was in the 90s, two federations. So you had the ITF and the WTF. So I think it was the World Taekwondo Federation and the International Taekwondo Federation. And I was in one, and I moved to the other. And that's why I'm kind of confused if I had a green or a blue belt, because I think they're the same level. And competed in the UK, and that was fun. And then a friend of mine started doing capoeira when I was at school studying A levels. And the capoeira was really, really fun. He only had a few basic moves, and I was just learning it. So when I went to university, I obviously went and found the Capoeira Society, got ingrained in it to the point that I became the president of the Capoeira Society. And I was actually teaching capoeira to after school classes and stuff. Is my cat about to have a poo? Where's my cat? I think my cat's about to have a poo. So I think I'm just going to pause for a second. And also check to make sure that we are streaming on Facebook, because I think something has changed in my settings. This is why the BTS tag is on my live streams. That one's live. Where's my other one? Yeah, my cat's having a poo, so that's gonna be fun. Is there audio? Yes, there's audio. Sweet. All right, so let's just let my cat do his thing. Can you hear him? Scratching away in the background. Where is he? Oh, you can't see it. He's doing his thing. Let him do his thing. Let's carry on. Let's wait until he's finished, because I am not editing out cat scratching. Like, for real. Can you imagine if humans did this? Like, when you went to the bathroom and, like, you had to scratch a whole bunch of, like, leaves or stuff over, like, what you've done. It'd be terrible. Wouldn't touch anyone's hand. No, he's still going. But that's the cabin, and it's got a carbon filter on it, so I don't have to suffer the consequences of his butt, which is fabulous. Everyone should have one for their cat if they're an indoor cat. Give them some privacy as well, because the last thing you want is to have a cat looking at you whilst it's doing its business. Anyway, I think he's doing this just to be a dick. So we're gonna carry on, because I have things to do after this, and fuck it. If there's cat scratching in the episode after this, there's cat scratching. Icarus, finish. Dude, finish. Also, imagine having a human screaming at you. Well, actually, that happens if you live with people and there's only one toilet and you need to tell them, hurry up, Kevin. I'm having a poo. I don't care. I need to use it. Well, you might want to light a match. Don't poo. Oh, what? I'm starting to lose my train of thought. Is he done? No. Literally taking the piss. Look, I'm letting him do his poo, but 2 bathrooms. Yes, 2 bathrooms is amazing, Adele. It's hashtag goals for whatever small place I move into. He's literally just doing this to spite me. If you have a pet, if you have a cat, you understand that this is a thing, that cats do this shit. He should pop up and start going nuts, scratching that in a second if he gets done. If he's genuinely. Now, this is just taking the... Icarus, you're taking the piss now. Well, you're not taking the piss. You've clearly taken a piss. But, like, what even are you doing? Oh, yep, there he goes. There he goes. There he goes. Is he going to run up? Is he going to... Where is he going to run? Where is he going to run to? Nowhere. There you go. Okay. You done now, cat? Good boy. And this is why crazy cat women exist, because we talk to our cats and our cats actually understand what the fuck is going on. Anyway, so Luna does her thing. I think she just gets performance anxiety and remembers, oh, I'm a lady, I shouldn't be pooping, but everybody poops. Okay, so the cat has chilled. And I'm going to pull it back. I remember I was talking about Taekwondo. So I'm going to go from the ITF, WTF thing. Yeah, yes, okay, you know what? This is for people who are watching. This is my brother from another mother who has claimed me as her own. Adil is my bro, and he has 2 cats. He has 2 Bengals. He's a crazy cat dude. Crazy cat siblings. That's what we are. We are derailing the conversation. I love it. Derail it even more. Challenge me. So Taekwondo's a thing, and we had ITF and WTF. And when I moved over to the UK, I did that. Oh, I was at Capoeira. I wasn't at Taekwondo. So being a president of the Capoeira Society and teaching classes was super, super fun at university. And I got well into it, and, went to my batizado, and I don't care what anyone says about Capoeira. Capoeira is deadly, okay? Most martial arts move in a front to back, or kind of, well, front to back, right? That's usually the places, and you go diagonally, this way, that way, the other way, whatever. Capoeira goes side to side. Our natural movement is side to side, not coming forwards or backwards, because we're facing each other and mimicking each other. And it's a play. But if you don't know the history of Capoeira, it was it started in West Africa, not East Africa. Started in West Africa as I think it's Ngolo, and there's Makulele as well, which are other African martial arts. And it came over with the slave trade, and the Brazilians or the imported African slaves would do this, and they hid this martial art as a dance so that the slave owners couldn't recognize that they were training themselves. So you always watch Capoeira and it looks like a dance because everyone's in a circle and singing and dancing, and you got these 2 people in the middle doing acrobatics. Now, let me tell you about these acrobatics, because my first batizado, which is a baptism, as it were, I was in the circle, singing and absolutely loving life. It's great. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, getting ahead of myself. Capoeira is great. And there were 2 mestres, one a contramestre and a mestre. So contramestre is one level before you get to mestre. And they were going in, and everyone was just so hyped. It was such a feverish pace and pitch, and just everything was just amazing, and flying kicks were starting. So instead of just round kicks where you touch the floor and your leg goes up into the air, now there's double air kicks and stuff. And this contramestre was against this guy. I think his name was Pantera, not the black metal band, but Panther, right? And he was quick, he was crazy quick and crazy muscular as well. And he did, I can't remember the names, but anyways, he did a double roundhouse 2 times. So that was 4 kicks in a span of half a second. And the contramestre escaped or did an esquiva, but he didn't realize that it was coming again. This is why you watch your opponent. The whole thing about Capoeira is not looking at yourself, it's always watching your opponent. And he got clocked. He got KO'd, clocked right on the jaw. out, completely sparkered, and landed at my feet. And I saw his eyes rolling in the back of his head. And the way he played his capoeira, he had a cross, the cross that Christian people wear, says the Jew. And he held it in his mouth just to, save it from going into his face. And usually if you're playing chill, that's very safe. But he was on the floor. This thing was just like hanging out of his mouth, bloodied mouth. And I'm stood here going, shit. Well, that's capoeira then. And he was fine. He woke up and they resuscitated him and everything. But he lost a tooth, and yeah, like anyone who says and dismisses capoeira saying it's a fruity martial art, I'm just like, if you get hit by one of those kicks, there's a reason why Eddie in Tekken was such a hard character to defeat properly. And there's a reason why people chose Eddie if they were button mashers. Because you could just do whatever the fuck and just like you could win, which is really, really great. So that's capoeira. I love capoeira, and I still love capoeira now. The flexibility and everything from it is amazing, and the community and society around it is so much fun too. So I moved from that, and we're gonna get to the main thing. Like, I am so off topic here, but I think it's just interesting to talk about martial arts anyway. So from capoeira, I started doing door work, and there was a bit of door training with some of the companies that I worked with, but I reached I'd call it pinnacle, just the way a door team needs to work. I found a door team, and it was led by a really decent guy, ex special forces, 30 plus years military, judo, aikido, jiu-jitsu, so Japanese jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, firearms, just everything, absolutely everything. And the dude's a unit as well, like big dude, but the biggest, gentlest person who could potentially kill you with a pen. He taught me how to use a pen to kind of use compliance hold on people, which is amazing. So his training was really amazing. We did a version of Krav Maga called Kapap, and we did functional edge, which is something that I was looking into anyway from my CrossFit days. Functional edge is not CrossFit. I'm just going to put it out there before people are just like, oh, what? No, functional edge training is I wouldn't call it a martial art. I think it's still in the space of the art of self-defense. And we did another one. Eskrima? Yeah, because we use Kali sticks and stuff. Basically, amazing training. Like, anyone who does doors, anyone who does police work should go through that style of training, because it teaches you psychologically how to own your shit more than anything else, which is really, really important, especially when you panic. And we did, I call it chaos training. I don't know what it was actually called. Pressure training, I think, where like the whole team would just have these rugby mats, or side kicking mats. And we just bombard you. We just literally just like squeeze and bombard you. And the whole idea was you needed to identify a way out from this and get to the door. So we're in a training room and we had to get to the door. So even if you escaped, someone who was fast, and there was always a rugby player, someone who was fast could potentially tackle you. And I don't mean like tackle you with arms, just tackle you with his pad and just push you to the ground again. And you'd need to get the fuck up. You'd need to get up and go again. Because it's a simulation of, a real situation that you'd probably have to deal with whilst your heart rate is going at 1,000 miles a second and you can barely hear anything, and like your motor actions have all kind of turned into big lunky movements, because that's what happens. So lots of psychological training with the door team, which was amazing. That was for a couple of years. And then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kind of casually came into my life because of a client where I was training him. And I think I go into that in great detail in episode 3. Can't believe we're on episode 35 already. It's great. Episode 3 or episode 4, where I talk about the 100, so with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. If you go and watch that, I go into extreme detail about that whole world. But I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2017. And I'm still doing it now. Well, not right now, because we're coming out of lockdown and I have a fractured toe. Did I mention I have a fractured toe? I know I said it last episode. I'm going to say it this episode as well. But in the midst of all of this martial arts, my history of martial arts from the age of 6 and karate school, movement has been a huge thing. So I mentioned gymnastics and that stopped, but I kept on kind of doing gymnastic-ish things. And lately, over the past 8 years, I've been studying, learning, and getting certified in various movement things. So movement naturel is a French natural movement system. Little caveat, when we come to talking about movement systems of the human body has a finite chasm of movement things, and every single course and study of body movement is just a systemized and boxed iteration of the same stuff, taught slightly differently with a slightly different philosophy behind it. But ultimately, when you kind of understand the basics and you look at things that other people are doing, it's all the same, just packaged differently with a different price point. Okay, park that. So movement natural is one thing. I'm a certified trainer in that. Biofit is another thing that I'm trained in, which is, again, natural movement, but it's designed more for like city people. So the gyms that are created with the Biofit principles are outdoor gyms created in really posh indoor spaces. So like, you have greenery in this room and these really expensive wooden structures that you hang off of and you do training, and you've got like posh sandbags that emulate kettlebells but aren't kettlebells. Maybe you have kettlebells, that kind of stuff. So I'm certified in that as well. Just more strings to my bow. And Budokon is something that I've been aware of for the last 5 years and always try to incorporate a little bit when they have stuff coming out. But this year or last year, no, this year, it was this year, I finally decided, you know what, I'm gonna step into this, because the thing I love about Budokon is it's a mixed movement arts system. So martial arts is great, but mixed movement arts, for me, has been something that's always been missing. And again, I missed it. I'm going to put it in here. When I started being a personal trainer, I really wanted to put my capoeira skills into teaching people. And anyone who's been a client of mine knows that there's always this weird movement element. There's always this kind of just moving your body and mastering your body movements. So I created a workshop that I actually do at festivals. If you're running a festival and you want a movement coach to do fun movement things where we're all playing like animals, hi, it's me. My thing is called grounded movement, and I started cultivating it and creating it 5-6 years ago. And then I was trying to see, is there anyone else doing what I'm doing specifically in the way that I'm doing? And the answer is yes. One person was cultivating all their martial arts experiences, which are way higher than mine, and really kind of channeling it and turning it into this really polished system that he's attacking or attracting the martial artists, but also the yogis, right? Because there's yoga in this. And this is why this is even an episode, because if you know me, I am not a fan of yoga, because again, I feel it's too planar, where it goes on just angles, specific angles. And I was kind of okay with that, but then on top of that, there was this insanely high price point. I'm like, isn't yoga meant to be for everyone? But all I'm seeing, and I don't want to sound racist, I know I'm going to sound racist, but it is what it is. It's an observation, and some observations are racist. There's a whole bunch of middle-class white women doing yoga. And I'm like, okay, this is why it's expensive, because, these folks have money to burn, or rather they spending this on a positive. They value the benefits that they get from yoga and Pilates and all these things. So they will happily put money into these spaces. The only problem with that is it prices out people who need these things. So I had this conversation with an auntie of mine back in Kenya, because I had this. I'm just like, yoga, like I can do yoga, but I don't feel comfortable in that space. Like when I finish, I'll just go home, because I'm not going to sit there going, yeah, with my kombucha. It really balanced my chakras and I feel so balanced. And I think I'm going to have maybe a rioja with dinner tonight. Like you just detoxified your body, quotation marks, and now you're gonna go and drink a bottle of wine and just undo your, just too hypocritical for me. And my auntie's just like, yeah. But in Kenya, in the slums, in the Kibera, is it Kibera slums? Yeah, in the slums, they actually teach yoga in there for free. And that's the way it should be. It's meant to be this community movement, this community space where your body movements are aligned with everyone for, a short moment of time, and you have the opportunity just to forget the bullshit in the world and just really kind of go inside and really just connect with yourself and connect with people around you who are doing the same. So that's what I understand yoga as being. That's not what I see yoga as being. And it really, really kind of bothered me. That's why I was just like, you know what, it's I can't be bothered. So I just leave it. But with Budokon, and the person who created this is a guy called Cameron Shane, and his wife now, Melaine Shane. They're basically a power couple. It's actually quite kind of inspiring to know that, oh, okay, normal things like this actually do happen. So Cameron is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. He's a yogi, and I think a high-level Taekwondo dude as well. And he created this system. He formally pulled everything together to create this Budokon thing, which is the warrior mind. And he goes beyond the yoga. The yoga is applied or applicable to martial arts, right? Which I was attracted to. I'm like, if yoga has an external meaning or an applicable external application, it works for something, then I'm on board. Because I can't really bring myself to sit there and just be like, namaste, but I'm still going to beat a bitch. Like, I need to be okay with this, like, namaste, beat a bitch, right? That's what I need in my life. So, his yoga style is mobility as well. So he goes across everything. He goes across the planes that we don't go across, kind of moving horizontally on the floor, because in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's a lot of what we do in my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. I'm on my back a lot. I'm on my back a lot and I move around a lot, and being able to be comfortable in that space is really important. So that's what he does. So I love it for that. And then he does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He does striking as well. So he incorporates Taekwondo style moves, Capoeira style moves, Muay Thai, a lot of Muay Thai, calisthenics. So lots of upper body movements, upper body, bar work and body weight stuff as well. So push-ups and all that kind of jazz. And there's a lot of mind science. So philosophy. I'm a sucker for just chewing the fat and pontificating and questioning all the things in life. Absolutely love that kind of stuff, and that's what he has in there. So this holy quadfecta of everything, and there's a nutritional aspect. Of course, there's a nutritional aspect, but just eat healthy food, avoid processed stuff. The end. So I jumped in on it in March. They had this March Metamorphosis thing. I did it beforehand. I joined the Budokon online guys in, I think, January or February, because this year is the year where things get done. I've lost my parents. My father died last year, tail end of last year. Other family members are doing crazy shit, and I'm just like, no, I'm done. I'm doing me. I'm doing me this year. I'm looking after myself, and I'm doing the stuff that I want to do, because death is a thing, and I am not here for it just yet. So, I jumped on the Budokon online thing, and they have stuff online, and I started running through it. But the March Metamorphosis thing was really cool because it was a challenge, to show up every day. And if you were on my Instagram, you probably saw me posting every day, doing some in my stories, posting my stories, and then posting on my feed, which is very slow at the moment just because there's nothing happening. I don't like to post pictures of my house, my flat. Like, I don't even like my flat. So yeah, for the entire month of March, as consecutive as possible, because I want to say every day, but I had days where I just couldn't do it or just didn't feel really up to it. We had a movement piece to consider. We had to meditate. It started off at 10 minutes and kind of ended up being, I think, 25 or 30 minutes, which I can do if I'm in the mind for it. Like I can meditate for an hour now. It's a horrible meditation, by the way. It's just rampant squirrels just like headbutting walls in my head, but I can do it. Um, then there was the nutritional thing. So that was a motorbike. That wasn't me. There was a nutritional thing where they had different challenges. So the first part of it was cutting out sugar, which is easy for me because like the most sugar I have is like half a teaspoon of honey in my coffee in the morning, and that's it. Like I don't buy sugar. I don't buy refined sugar. My fruits in the morning are either a mango or a papaya, and sometimes I'll eat cookies, but like for the no sugar thing, I'm like, okay, no cookies, no cookies. And I haven't eaten cheesecake in forever because I'm not training hard enough to justify eating cheesecake. So our first kind of challenge was for the first 2 weeks was no sugar. And then the last 2 weeks was no white flour. Again, easy. I don't really eat flour unless I'm making pancakes. But again, pancakes I can substitute with pretty much anything else. I've done this. I've done this stuff. So that was the thing. And then they had a mind science section where we were either told to watch a documentary of some description or listen to a podcast episode of their Guru Killer podcast. Really good. Really, really good. And then it would all kind of get sewn together every Sunday where we would have a live mind science session, which was across Zoom. And there'd be like at least 50 to 80 of us on each call, which is amazing. And Cameron would just kind of talk about an idea and we'd have a discussion about it. And then after that, we would do a flow or yobility or mobility or, whatever thing that Malaine would decide we do. So we'd do movement for about an hour or so. And you know what? Initially, I hated it. I'm going to be honest with you. Initially, it was really challenging, and this is where the weak source comes in. So I've been talking about due diligence for the last 30 minutes or so, and now we're coming into the main thing that I really had to struggle with, and I think this is the action point for you. When you go into something new and you go into something that will benefit you, but you have the self-awareness or heightened self-awareness to accept that some stuff is gonna suck. And some stuff is gonna suck for a long time. Like literally, my thing is yoga, right? Because I've got this external social issue with it. But also just with time and lockdown and everything, I've lost a lot of my balance. I've lost a lot of my gains. I'm very hypermobile, which is why I do so much strength training. If you've known me over the last 10 years, lifting really heavy stuff is something my mom put into my brain because she was a bodybuilder. And lifting heavy stuff, I started doing from the age of probably about 13, 14 at home. It messed up during boarding school, but I kind of found ways to do it. And then, when I was at university, I kept on going. But with the yoga side of things, and this is the aspect of Budokon which really challenges me, is my brain can't handle it. My brain is just like, this is so boring. Why are we doing this? This sucks. We're not even good at this stuff. Why are we even doing this stuff if we're not even good at it? Because we're not good at it. We have to embrace the weak source. We have to get stuck in and really, really embrace the suck, right? If you're of a dirty mind, get out of the gutter, okay? Take the phrase for what it is. But ultimately, with that month, every single training session, I went in, and I think only towards the end did I start dropping certain things. I still have a huge mental barrier against doing yoga for over an hour. There is one part which was, I think it was Cameron's Mobility Monster, which was about 72 minutes, and my brain was just like, no. I'm like, oh, come on, no. And it was really hard as well. Like some of the movements were really hard, and there weren't that many regressions, but I know the regressions just because what I said earlier, once you understand the chasm of body movement, and you see people like, we're going to do this. I'm like, I know the steps that you kind of go before to reach that. So I had a lot of mental anguish with the yoga aspect of the Budokon thing. If there was striking or kicking or, any kind of high intensity interval training style things, smoked it completely fine. But the yoga, man, like, and it wasn't even the yoga, it was like mobility, but like being in the warrior one position, being in this position, being in this floaty crow pose, and my crow pose is more like a toad on high on weed. Like, I'm just on the floor kind of going, what? Like, you expect my arms to do this? Like, no, my shoulder's about to dislocate itself. Hypermobility, great. And I just kept on going. And like having that challenge, if that challenge wasn't there and set things to do every day and I diarized it and did everything, I definitely would have not persevered. And the funny thing is, and I know this, and everyone knows this, we all know this, you persevere with something, you eventually get better. And I did. Like my warrior transitions got better and my sun salutations actually kind of started sticking. And, various other movements. I am never going to remember the Hindi words for yoga positions. They're too. I'm Kenyan. English isn't my first language, but it's my only language. And now you're asking me to like memorize or understand things that have like 6, 7 syllables. No, it's not happening. I'm sorry. Maybe at some point, but right now, just give me the English versions because that's all I can deal with. Or give me the Swahili versions, right? I can deal with that. And that's why this episode is called Weaksauce and Due Diligence, because I know myself and I know a lot of other people can relate to this. We give up well in advance of when we should give up on a lot of things. That's assuming that we've actually verified and made sure that what we're about to do or what we're doing actually makes sense for us as a human. So if we kind of go through that, it's like, yes, this is the thing that I need to do, or this is the thing that I want to do. If you need to do it, you need to make sure that need is a positive need that propels you forward rather than a negative need that's yanking on your neck. Because those ones that yank on your neck are really tough. If they're genuine yanking on the neck, if they're yanking on your neck because you kind of don't want to do it because you're afraid of failure, that's a little bit different. Like, you have to do it, but ultimately there's a good for it rather than, you have to do it. And ultimately, if you didn't do it, it's fine. If you don't need to do something, then don't do it, obviously. But I digress. So we have a lot of these situations where we quit before we even have given something a chance. And I think it's important to really step into that and really ask yourself, like, how much time have I given this thing that I'm doing, whatever it is? How much time do I want to give it before I can actually happily say I'm done? That's really, really important, because if you don't park stuff, mentally, it's just going to take space in your head. And before you know it, you've just got all this bullshit in your head and nothing to do with it. It's just like, oh, I should have done that. I should have done that. I should have done that. And yeah, it's get rid of those things that you should have done and do them now, tomorrow, a week later, or whatever. And then it's done. All right. If something should be done, but it can't be done and it won't be done, then get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Stop hoarding. Stop mentally hoarding stuff. Like, hoarding in your brain is way worse than hoarding at home. Don't look at my living room. It's like literally doing it in your head is way worse than doing it at home. What's going on in the conversation sections? Corolla, yeah. Like, I'm the same. My body remembers movements, and if someone says, whatever kind of things, I have no idea what's going on. So Corolla is Swedish, so similar kind of situation where with yoga you get all these like, I can't even say that. Mukha Svanasana. Svavasana. So Mukha Svavasana, right? I might get it, but then like that's going to take up some brain space. And I'm like, do I need it? Or, whatever that movement is. If someone does the movement and I'm like, okay, cool, I can do it. Or if it's a sequence and you remember the sequence, like choreography for dances, then that's what happens, right? So with this one, I don't want to do an hour today. I think, kind of a sub 45-minute episode is nice. And this wasn't a huge advert for Budokon. This is me just kind of embracing new spaces and encouraging you to do the same when it comes to something that you've been wanting to do for a long time and you're still not doing it. If you're right now sitting and thinking of something that you wanted to do for ages, but you've not done it, you need to ask yourself why, because you're not getting any younger. If you are, please send me a message about what you're doing. If it involves dead babies, I don't want to know. But if you are, I don't know, sucking on the teat of the fountain of youth, then, let's not make this weird. I'm making it weird. I need to stop. Anyway, you're going to die. We're all going to die, okay? And we need to embrace this in a positive manner, right? Having a finite existence is great because it gives a sense of urgency to things that you need to do. Yes, you need to have a job. Yes, you need to pay your bills. Yes, you need to look after your partner. Yes, you need to look after the children. You need to look after yourself, because if you don't look after yourself, then everything else is a freaking misery, and no one wants that. Really, no one wants that. I don't want that. You don't want that. No one else wants that. The last year has been absolutely trash, but it should be kind of like kicking you up the butt to remind you what you should be getting up to. If you want to just go on a long walk, train yourself up first, because long hikes actually take, you'll take a battering. But like if you want to go and do a walk somewhere, train yourself up to do that. If you want to go and visit places, figure out how you're going to do that once things kind of ease up a little bit. If you want to improve on your mobility and your stretching, find a program that does that. Find something that can hold you accountable for 30 days. I love Adrienne. Yoga with Adrienne is a free thing on YouTube. Her channel, she has 30-day everythings. I got sucked into it in the month of February because it's 28 days and I like 28-day challenges for myself. And one of hers was was Revolution Yoga, and I got attracted to that because it had a picture of the sun just coming up over the horizon of the planet Earth. And I love sci-fi, I love science, I love space, and I'm like, yep, I'll do that. I don't know what's in that, but the picture is cool, and it's called Revolution, and it looks really sci-fi. I'm down. Find something that works for you. Stop giving yourself excuses not to do things. Stop excusing yourself from your own freaking life, because no one else is living it for you. You don't get a second shot at this, right? So go do the thing and figure out a way to make it happen. Okay, so with that, I think that's a good place to, kind of bring a close to all of this after going on my little soapbox for a minute. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As usual, if you want to have a chat with me, I'm on Facebook as Shigimus. I'm on Instagram as well, and Twitter. Instagram and Twitter, I'm Shig. I'm everywhere else. Just come and find me. Let's have a chat, because I like talking about things, especially when it comes to things from this episode. So, this is a live stream that happened on a Tuesday. If you're listening to this, it's obviously come out as a normal episode on Thursday. And yeah, until next time, look after yourself. That's it. Woo. All right. I'm gonna stop that one there. That's on 45 minutes, and this is on 49 minutes. Smashing. Well, thank you guys. People in the comments, thank you for commenting as usual. It's really appreciated. As usual, this episode is a live stream, and it will be pinned on my Facebook profile, because that's the thing now. How exciting. So that's going to be pinned up there. And I'm going to edit this episode, sexify it, tidy it up a little bit, and it'll be on my podcast, Getting Shiggy With, platform on Thursday. So if you haven't subscribed to my podcast, you should do it. You should do it. Thank you, Corolla. Thank you for your support in here. It's really appreciated. Sometimes I feel like I'm just talking into the void, which I'm good at doing. But, I like talking to people. So conversations are really, really good. And I hope these things help you as much as they help me getting them out of my head. Because, oh my God, it's so noisy in there. But yeah, this is the raw and unedited version, which you kind of get to tap into for a couple of days beforehand. And then Thursday at some point, I still haven't put a time down, it will be live. So yeah, until next Tuesday, I will get the scheduling right. I will figure out the scheduling at some point, hopefully in the next 5 minutes. Stay happy, stay healthy. Carola. I'm gonna leave with this one because that tickled me. That tickled me immensely. Stay happy, stay healthy, love your faces, and I will see you guys online.